on to raise your hand and I will call on you. Let's kick it off with Dylan Rush.
What's up, Corey? How you doing, man? You've had a great run in Bellator thus far, 4-1 with that one no contest, three big finishes, and now an international main event with championship gold on the line. How would you describe your treatment within the promotion, and how happy are you with the opportunities you've received or earned thus far?
I mean, my treatment and promotion has been great. Like I said, going into the second Nemkov fight, that was the reason why I re-signed with them before even going into free agency again. I appreciate the way it was treating me, and everything was going smooth, and well, not going, everything is going smooth, and everybody kept their word, and everybody's easy to work with, easy to communicate with, easy to get a hold of. So for me, that was like the number one thing when I decided to sign here. And then other than that, like you said, just I earned everything else. So I'm just glad I'm finally getting what I earned and deserve. I'm happy to be here.
Definitely. Sounds like a good environment. I was fortunate enough to be in the building for your fights with Vadim Nemkov in San Jose and Chicago, and throughout those fights, I heard deafening roars of USA, USA. I don't think we'll be hearing those chants on Friday night, but are you planning to win the Irish crowd over with your exciting fight style by the end of the night?
I mean, I don't care if I win the crowd over or not. The plan is to go out there and win. I mean, they can hate me, they can boo me, whatever it is, but they still got to come and watch me if they want to support their boy. So they better hope for the best, but I'm prepared to go ahead and stop the show.
Appreciate it, man. Good luck.
Ken Chronicles Media.
Hey, Corey, K Williams for Ken Chronicles Media. At this point in your career and still being able to compete at a high level, will you talk to us about what motivates you to continue your push in MMA?
I mean, the main motivation for me is the goal I set out for when I came into the game hasn't been achieved yet. My goal was to be the best and to get the belt. So here we are. We had that third time's the charm, hopefully. So we can go out there and prove that we're the best and get this belt and then just continue to just dominate and show over and over and over why I've always said I believe I'm the best.
Yeah, man, for sure. And one last thing, those Stacey Adams that you posted on Instagram, those were sharp, brother. Those were sharp.
Well, you wait till you see the whole fit, baby. I got the steamer coming tonight. Gonna get it all steamed and ready to go. The whole fit is fire. A tribute to my nephew that was murdered last year. So you'll see if you follow the social media, you'll see the picture collab next to each other. Yeah, it makes sense.
Hey, God bless your family and my prayers, brother.
Appreciate it.
Jay Anderson.
Oh, 100%. Especially if the fight slow down, there's nobody next in line right away after 205. I want to stay active, 100%. I got the belt here. I finished that business. There's no other fights to line up. Let me go up to heavyweight and start picking at that division and earn my way up to a title shot there as well. Oh, 100%. I mean, when we was waiting, we didn't know what was going on with the buyout and everything, and I hadn't had a fight news or anything heard from anybody, and I heard Nemkov was going up, but I wasn't sure who was going to fight. As soon as it was posted, he was going to heavyweight. I texted Mike Hogan, and this guy's like, yo, since I'm sitting out, let me go up to heavyweight. I'll fight him there. I don't care. I'll be his debut fight at heavyweight. I just want to get that trilogy back. So whether it's at heavyweight or he ended up coming back down to 205, 100%, that's a fight I would love to get back. I don't make it more of a dangerous fight, but to make it more of a fun fight where you get to show all your tools. Because he will try to strike, but if you start hitting him, he can't get to the clinch or he'll go for the takedown. If you get him to the cage, he can pivot off the cage and use his cage wrestling. He can get takedowns on the cage. When he's on the ground, he's throwing up submissions, he's working to get up. So it's kind of like one of those tests where it's like with Melvin Manhoof, it was like all striking. Yak Shimmerdahl is a little bit striking, but mostly wrestling. When I got there, it was like I just mauled him there. Nemkov, the first time I got him down, I was taking over the second time. It was more just a striking fight, never got to the ground. As for this fight, is he's willing to go pretty much anywhere to fight to get the win, whether he has to go to the ground, whether he's ready to strike, whether he's on the defensive side on the ground trying to throw up submissions. So, I mean, I'm well attributed and I can do all those as well. So it's fun to finally feel like I might get to test everything in a full fight.
Keelan McNamara.
Corey, very good afternoon. Welcome to Belfast.
Thank you.
Corey, my question for you is, obviously, like a lot of fighters who are traveling for this card, you're fighting a hometown favorite in Carl Moore. My question is for you because your resume is very impressive and it's very extensive. If you win against Carl Moore on Friday night, especially perhaps in dominant fashion, what do you think this fight does for you in terms of legacy, and what do you think it adds to your resume in this company?
I mean, well, first thing it does is this is a history card, the first card of the new Bellator Championship Series. So to win the belts, I was the first light heavyweight champ crowned on that new organization. Second thing is I finally got my championship belt, which is something I've been working for. And other than that, it just shows even after 10, 11 years, I'm still in this game and grinding, young and ready to go. So, I mean, for the company, I feel like it's going to depend on how good the crowd is, really help. But if we all put out a good show here, and especially go out there and win in a dominant fashion or even an exciting fashion where it's a war, that's going to raise the stock of the company. Like, oh, they're putting on good cards, they're putting together good fights, the matchmaking is doing very well. So all around, I think it's a lot of things that can come out of this weekend.
Great answer, Corey. Thank you for your time and best of luck Friday night.
Thank you.
Harry Davies.
Hi, Corey. 2024 marks, I believe, 4 years since you were granted your UFC release and you signed with Bellator. Reflecting on, given it's been 4 years now, was that a decision that you thought would pay off as well as it has done when you made it?
When I made the decision, no. It was one of them things where you just don't know, just the unknown. I had started in the UFC from the Ultimate Fighter with 3 fights within 6 months. Went to UFC, so I had zero experience, didn't know what was out there, didn't know how other organizations work, never met any organization owners, Scott Cover, people like that. So I never had words with anybody, never knew how it would be on the outside. And what I was always told was UFC is the pinnacle. Like, I even had fighters tell me when I was saying stuff like, yo, if you guys don't not let me fight this and that, release me. They'll message me like, bro, don't say that. You'll never make as much money as you do in UFC. UFC is the highest paying spot. And then when I left, it was kind of like just had to take that gamble. It was like an entrepreneur, ain't businessman. It's an entrepreneur, it's a gamble, it's a monopoly, or you're trying to get the monopoly, but it's a gamble to get there. And it was a scary situation to not know how it was going to be, how the treatment was going to be, if the payment was going to be as well. But Lord willing for me, shortly after the release was made, my manager made the announcement, Bellator came with a huge contract, and right there from the get-go, that was more than I had ever made in the UFC. Then the next day, I talked to Scott Cover. He wanted to have breakfast. That was something that was better than UFC. I never had to sit down with Dana White, met with the owner right away. And then the first fight week was just amazing. And so at the end of the day, it was probably the best decision I've made in my career thus far, other than moving to Jersey to change my fighting camp. So it's definitely paid off in huge.
And just last one from me, touching on the topic of prize fighting. I spoke to Carl just moments ago, and he said that he was actually offered the chance, I believe, of being in the PFL regular season to compete for that $1 million. Obviously, Bellator is the focus right now, but is that something that you're maybe open to in the future?
Maybe next year, who knows? It was an offer for me as well to go in there, but like I told my manager, my main goal is to get the title. My main priority is to take care of my family. So whichever one I can get those two the fastest, the soonest, let's do it. So the tournament was later than the title fight. So we went with the title fight, stay with Bellator, and we get this money and just keep defending the belt and get more money.
Thank you, Corey. All the best.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to do our last question here. It's going to be J.L. Curvin.
Hey, Corey, appreciate the time. Just when you reflect on your career, the ups and downs, when you think about the shortcomings in the title fights, is that something that you had to let go to find peace, or do you carry that frustration as fuel?
You gotta let it go, but you don't forget. It's kind of like you forgive, but you don't forget. You forgive those situations and you learn from them. Like I did in an interview when PFL and Bellator came out and viewed me. I said they asked me about setbacks. So they're not setbacks; they're stepping stones. So you take those things that you set back when you fall short, those shortcomings, and you can sit there and cry over spilled milk all day, but it's never gonna pour you another bowl of cereal. My mom said, "Oh, I'm not gonna cry about spilled milk. I'm gonna clean it up and pour me another bowl of cereal." That's exactly what I did. Cleaned it up. I harped on it for about 5 minutes, or I say 5 minutes of soaking. I would say 5 days, maybe a week, maybe a little more. But it was time to let go and get back to reality. And you keep that in the back of your head as you train. Like, we can't let that happen. We can't make those mistakes. We can't let these things slip out of our hands. And that'll make you tighten up and hone on your game that much more, make you be super solid. The next can't. You just keep remembering, you keep working to it, and you remember that hurt and that burn and that feeling you had that night, or later on, or that year, whenever it happened, you remember how you felt that night. You remember you don't want to feel like that again. And it just lights that fire that keeps you going. So in a way, you let it go, but at the same time, it's always in the back of your head.
Absolutely. And then I think Jay Christian Gary had one for you.
Go for it, Jay.
Um, First of all, OT, how you be, man?
I'm good, Jay. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Mr. Anderson. Jay Christian Gary, Focus Fights Audio. Just got a couple of questions just to keep it short, and then you'll be on your way. First of all, when it comes down to this light heavyweight division, obviously the PFL don't have one. Ryzen in Japan left theirs behind when Jiri Prohaska bolted for the UFC. So would you say that Bellator, despite the buyout, still has some of the best light heavyweights that aren't in the three-letter promotions octagon?
Oh, 100%. I mean, granted, we lost some of us. Well, PFL and Bellator are all as one now. So we got to combine division of two rosters. So yes, it made it even more dangerous. I mean, you saw how the PFL Bellator thing went. Bellator went out there and just mopped the floor pretty much. Even though we didn't have a actual 205 champion there to represent, still the 85 went out there and beat the PFL 205 guy. And if you think about the 205s we have, we beat the top guys that was in the UFC before this new tier of kids come through, who I still don't believe was as good as the original guys.
Right, right. And one more question, and then we're all going to disperse. This is going to be your second time fighting for the world title outright. Your third time in a big pressure situation since you joined the Bellator roster. I mean, I hate to get all philosophical on you, but would you say that these fights are like a blessing considering the fact that the UFC failed to give you these opportunities?
I feel like I'm finally getting what I deserve. You know, you hear people or see people say, "Oh, Corey Anderson getting another title fight." Well, Corey Anderson earned a title fight. It ain't like I'm just getting it. My last fight was against the number one contender who was going to get the next title fight, who beat all the other guys coming up. So if I beat him, why would I have to go back in the line and fight somebody else? Like I asked the higher ups after the fight with Phil Davis, like, "What's next?" And I say, "What do you think? There's nothing else left. You beat the next guy in line, so I guess you get the next title shot." So here he is. It's a blessing, but at the same time, it's like it wasn't given to me; it was earned. I had to go out there. Same thing I did in UFC. I earned it, but they just never gave it to me because I didn't have a good following. Now here, the following isn't that important, and I've earned it. So I'm going to take what I've earned.
I see. Well, other than that, I think I can say on behalf of all the people here, best of skill to you this weekend, bro, man.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, that concludes our media day. Thank you so much, Corey.
Thank you, Gabby.
And thank you to the media for all your questions.